Hey guys, welcome to my first video on YouTube. Today, I'll be showing you guys how to do this effect. So I've actually used this effect a ton of times in some of my client work, such as with Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Porsche, and other fashion clients. And if you just want to experiment, play around with this effect, you don't need a fancy camera. You can use your phone with 4K and stabilization. Tons of phones have it these days, so feel free to try it out. So yeah guys, welcome to my channel. Now what you see here is a dolly zoom effect or a vertigo effect, but what we're gonna do today is make a spicier version of it. We're gonna add a boomerang effect to it. It's a vertigo effect, boomerang, boomerang. And so usually how you would film this is for the cameraman to move forward towards the subject while you're zooming out to create that trippy depth zoom look. But I'm gonna show you an easier way of how I do it. And so what I do is film in 4K, and instead of zooming out my lens while I'm moving forward towards my subject, I crop it in post-production in Premiere Pro. So yeah, you can use a gimbal, a drone, or any type of method where you're getting a smooth, stable shot towards your subject. Just gotta bend those knees. Now for this effect, you don't need a fancy camera because smartphones and iPhones these days have 4K with stabilization in them. So feel free to try it out even just with a phone.
Alright, so we're in Premiere and we're going to create a sequence. 1080 or 4K, it doesn't matter, up to your project, but we're going 4K today. Then we're going to drag in our footage into our project. In our case, it's a Porsche. And so what I'm doing there to zoom in and out of my timeline is the plus and minus button. And now for our in point, we want it to be the furthest point from our subject. So right around here. And for our out point, we want it to be the nearest point to our subject where we're still maintaining that smooth push in. So around here is pretty good. And our next step would be to head into the effects tab and then add some keyframes, one at the beginning and then one at the end. So for the one at the beginning, we can scale this all the way up to 200 just because we filmed in 4K, so we're not losing that much resolution. And if you quickly scrub through it right now, you can already get that vertigo zoom effect, that dolly zoom effect. And then after this, we want to nest this whole clip, right click, nest, boom. And then add in a warp stabilizer effect. So now we wait for that to do its thing. Boom, now it's done. And what this is going to do is it's really going to accentuate that smooth look. So now we're going to nest it again. Right click, nest. And this is where we're going to speed ramp. So right click, show clip keyframes, time remapping, speed. And then double left click in this area just to expand the whole clip. So we want to add 2 keyframes again. So in the beginning and the end, but this time we're manipulating speed. Around 10 frames would be good. So shift arrow once, shift arrow twice. That's 10 frames. Put that button there. And then from the very end, shift left arrow once, shift left arrow twice, keyframe again, and then just click and drag this middle line here all the way up to 1000. And so with Adobe Premiere 2019, we can only max up to 1000. Next, I'm going to click and drag this part here just to create a gradual speed ramp, and then click and drag this section here as well, just so it's a smoother speed ramp there. And I'm going to do it in this section as well. Now because this is maxed at 1000%, we're going to go to our razor tool and cut it around where we max out our speed. And for this section, we want this to be really sped up, so we're going to right click and head into speed duration. And let's say 250%. Let's see, that looks good to me. So 250 works, but play around with that number depending on your footage. We're just going to cut this excess part here. And now we're going to select our whole clip here and then nest it again. And we're going to add another warp stabilizer effect to it. Alright, sweet, so we're done with the second warp stabilizer effect. Now you might notice that it looks a little bit weird. So what we're going to do is turn the smoothness all the way down to 1%. So we're going to nest this again just so we can reverse the footage and create that boomerang effect. So Control C, Control V, right click, speed duration, reverse speed. And there's your boomerang right there. Now to really accentuate this effect, feel free to add motion blur towards the parts where it speeds up. And now just one last step that I'm gonna do is color correct this footage. I'm gonna create an adjustment layer, drag it on top of my clips. Get the Lumetri color effect. And for the sake of speed for this tutorial, I'm just gonna bump up saturation and contrast. And there you go, that is your boomerang effect.
Hey guys, if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. Super appreciate it, it really means a lot. I'd love to see your guys' own creations and own renditions of this effect, so if you do try it out, don't forget to hashtag boomerang on Instagram or other social media. If you did like it, feel free to subscribe or thumbs up, that would mean a lot. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.